The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Rabbi Lopian was a legendary Musar figure who not only taught Musar, but also lived a life of Musar. When Rabbi was a younger man, his wife and his children lived in an apartment, and the apartment that they lived in was extremely challenging. It was a tiny living space with just one bedroom, and they suffered tremendously, and they kept trying to find a new apartment. The problem was that where they lived, it was very difficult to find apartments that are for rent, and they couldn't find anything. Finally, they found an apartment which had a much larger living space, which had more bedrooms, and they were so excited to move there. And the moving day came, and they packed everything up, and they got one of these moving companies to move them, and they took all the content of their apartment, and they loaded it up, and they put it, and they began their drive to a different part of town where they got this beautiful apartment. They were so excited. They come to the apartment building where they intended to move to, and there's a man standing there in front of the apartment building. Rabbi says to him, Shalom Aleichem. Walks down, the man says to him, "You're the new tenant, the one that's taking the apartment here?" Rabbi says, "Yes." He says, "I want you to know something. It's rightfully yours, but you should know right after you made up with the Ba'abas, with the landlord, that you're going to get this apartment. I came there and I asked him to rent it because I hadn't known that you took it already. And I didn't get it, and it's rightfully yours, but I want you to know something. My daughter and son-in-law are getting married in a few weeks, and they have nowhere to live because you're taking this apartment. I don't know. I may even have to push off the chasna if I have nowhere for them to live. Understand that." Rabbi heard this, and some of his family members heard this as well, and they said to them, "It's ours, it's fair and square, and we have a large family, we need a large apartment. It's a young couple. Find something smaller." Rabbi said, "Shh." Rabbi thought for a moment. He said to the man, "You know what? If your daughter and your son have nowhere to live, and we still have our old apartment, how can we take this apartment? Here, it's yours." And he turns to the moving company and he says, "Turn around." And him and his family went back in that small little space in the confines of their apartment. It's hard to think even about such a story because it boggles the mind. When you're able to take yourself out of an equation and see somebody else's issue, your own, to a certain level, like your own loss, to give someone else an opportunity when you yourself don't have that opportunity, it's not even a way that we think. It's not the way of regular people, but it's the way of Gedolei Yisrael. And Bali Muslek Rabbi Lopian, he couldn't move into that apartment if he knew that there was someone else that on some level was suffering, someone else that on some level wanted it, and he would rather his family figure things out in a smaller apartment and find something else eventually than some other person on some level have a level of, I guess you could say, discomfort or suffering.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org